Hello! We are coming to you from the London Coffee Festival, where we will spend the next 2 days and show you around the festival. It's always such a cool event with so many things to see, and we're very, very excited to take you along for the journey. Come on! Hi, and welcome back to BeanTalk. We're coming to you today from the London Coffee Festival, which is always such an exciting event. And we're here at Minor Figures with Thibault, and you're the sustainability manager for Minor Figures, is that true?
That's correct, yeah. So I look after sustainability at Minor Figures, which means that it's about understanding how we currently stand in the space of sustainability and how we can do better, finding opportunities and driving the culture to deliver those changes going forward.
Oh, that's so interesting. Talk to me about sustainability and oat milk, and what makes it more sustainable than your regular dairy milk, for example.
So, I mean, the product in itself, oat milk is more sustainable than dairy from a carbon perspective and a water perspective. It's about 8 times better, 8 times less carbon in oat milk than dairy. And the way to think about that is every time you have a Minor Figures latte, you save as enough carbon to basically pay yourself for beer. So if you think of the carbon cost of things, it's like an oat latte and a beer for the price of the carbon price of a dairy latte. I think this is an interesting way to think about it, like to think about the carbon budget and the way we can reduce our emissions personally. And so Minor Figures has always been very much entrenched in sustainability. One of the co-founders, Stuart, was a co-founder in Keep Cup, just next door. And so it really came to his heart. So when I joined the business 3 years ago, he wanted to be carbon neutral in B Corp. And I'm very proud to announce that. We just got B Corp last week, and we've been carbon neutral for 3 years now. And that really means that we're not just saying, cool, we're already better than dairy and from a sustainability point of view, and we're fine, we don't need to do more. It's about, cool, okay, so it is better, but are there ways to do more? I think there are ways to do more, and we still have a carbon footprint by just being in business and creating products. So it's like, how do we own that? How do we own our emissions and have an impact? So by offsetting our emissions, it means we account for our responsibility of us existing as a business, and we invest in projects that have the carbon impact to remove those emissions and put them back into the soil, but also have an impact on local biodiversity, wildlife, and also local communities, and really recreate a link between people and nature in a way which is sustainable. And that's the whole thing about sustainability. It's about how do we change the way business operates to create a world, a future, which is worth living, which is exciting, but that also accounts for that. It accounts for like price, convenience, but also how, the impact we have on the world. And so being able to do that for Minor Figures is just tremendous. I'm super lucky. I think I've got one of the best jobs in the world.
Well, that's lovely. That's amazing. It's noticeable how passionate you are about the topic, so that's really cool. Yeah.
We're changing the world. We're recreating something different.
Yeah.
And I think it's super cool to be part of this thing. And becoming a B Corp, the best thing about B Corp is that you are part of a group of companies that want to do that want to like have an impact and be a force for good. And so it enables, I believe, it will enable cooperations between even our competitors, because if we share a challenge, then we can work together on addressing that. And that's super exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting. That's another thing I want to talk to you about. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but the booth of Minor Figures is absolutely amazing. And it's so fun and different. And also your packaging. And there's a lady in a duck on the package, which is very memorable. Is there a story behind that?
Yeah, there is a story. So 7 years or so ago, when the company started, the main feature of the packaging was a duck. And when they did the rebranding 5 years ago, they wanted to keep the duck because ducks are cool. And so they tried to make it more personable, more human, because it's all about like creating a world which is like based on compassion, and that's where people can identify themselves. So like Penelope kind of embodies the duck, that character, and you'll find duck signs or duck photos or footprints in every one of our products. And this is key. This is about my figures. My figures about creativity, it's about fun, and the oatmeal product, the signature packaging, I think shows that really well.
So Thibault, talk to me about the different sort of non-dairy milks that you have.
Cool. So Magnificus only does oat milk. We've tried every different sort of nuts we could find and oat milk just works the best with coffee. And so we have the original, which is the barista. All our oat milks are made for coffee use and to really elevate the coffee profile. And so we have the standard one, we have the organic one, and then we have a light one which has less fat and less sugar. But we also do this one in a 10-liter bag format, which is really interesting from a sustainability point of view because it has 42% less carbon emission and 58% less packaging use. Yeah. I think it's great. It's just a perfect alignment of how we can do better. So it's a really exciting product to launch. We launched that about a year ago, and it's becoming more and more popular across the UK and soon in Europe.
That's really cool. Thank you very much. We're here at the booth of Caf de El Salvador, and we're here to talk to Irene about coffee in El Salvador. Irene, talk to us about what's special about the coffee production and industry in El Salvador.
Well, it's important to understand that El Salvador has high production and world renowned for years until we had a civil war. So whenever we're talking about Salvadorian coffee, there's a whole bunch of social responsibility that goes into it due to the social economical problems that we experience in El Salvador. So it really is a lifeline for our people and a way to generate jobs. So my role, I am from Mav Coffee. I'm a 5th generation coffee producer, and I'm here out of passion. We started Mav out of a necessity to preserve the coffee culture in El Salvador and our family tradition. And due to this, we have expanded and we have 3 farms right now. And I would say my main role is to bring the Salvadorian coffee to the rest of the world so we can give something powerful for people to speak, because their coffee is really good. And I feel like people should taste it so they can really understand, you know, where we're coming from and the hard work the Salvadorians put in order to, you know, do better and generate a product that is worldly renowned.
I can vouch for that. We had some coffee and it was amazing. We have different processed green coffee beans here. Talk to us about what we can see here, because it looks very interesting.
Well, thank you. Yes, this is the different processes that we see whenever we're talking about naturals. We're talking about drying a whole bean. This is usually done in African beds. In Mav, we do them in African beds, or they can do in the planis. And then we have a honey, which is, you know, the chunky one, where you have to remove the pulp and you have the myceligus, and it dries up like this. And then we have, whenever we're talking about washed coffee, we have this. So these are the different processes. Here we would only be missing the anaerobic process. And I would like to say that for Mav right now, we're very strong in the naturals because I think it's trending. But all of these are pretty much being processed in El Salvador mainly, and we're bringing out to the world.
Thank you so much, Irene. It was so informative, and thank you also for the chat we had earlier. It was very, very interesting, and have a wonderful rest of the London Coffee Festival. Thanks so much for talking to us.
A pleasure. I hope to see you guys in the Vienna Festival.
Oh, we do too. from Redemption Coffee Roasters, and you have a really, really interesting concept to your roastery. It's not just any coffee roastery, there's much, much more behind it. Do you want to explain a little bit about what it is that you guys do?
Absolutely, yeah. So Redemption Roasters is the first behind bars coffee roastery in the UK. So what I mean by that is we roast all of our coffee in a working prison. So this prison is called The Mount. It's in Hertfordshire near Hemel Hempstead. And you know, we have a full-time kind of production team, and a good number of them are actually offenders from the institution itself. Now, in addition to roasting coffee in a prison, we also run training academies at various prisons across the UK. And in those prisons, we train offenders in barista skills, in hospitality, and we train them to like an SCA standard, so they're receiving really kind of high quality sort of coffee training. Now, when those guys leave prison, we then maintain a relationship with them, and that's where our cafes come into the picture. So in London, we have 10 Redemption Roasters cafes. And in those cafes, somewhere between 20 and 25% at any one time of the staff come from those beneficiary groups. So they either come to us from prison, or they're referred to us by the DWP or various other charity partners at being at risk of crime. So really what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce reoffending, which is a big problem in the UK, as it is in many other countries. And we're trying to reduce it through speciality coffee. And we're trying to kind of give people a sort of second chance where other employers might not necessarily be inclined to.
Yeah. It's really, really amazing work, and I imagine it's quite rewarding as well to work in sort of not just, we're all passionate about coffee, yes, but there's a much, much more important component to what you guys do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's very rewarding. It's very challenging. Like we're not going to lie, the logistics of running a roastery out of a working prison definitely present some challenges that aren't there if the prison's just in central London. Yeah. But you know, it definitely kind of pays off. And you know, I mean, just today I ran into an old graduate of ours, one of our kind of earliest graduates, who's now a head roaster for a coffee company in Oxfordshire. And so that's what's great about the coffee industry, is it's not just about training them in kind of hospitality or barista skills, but also there's that level of professionalisation. So if they really develop a passion for coffee, they can sort of take that with them and progress through the industry, which is what it's all about.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nathan.
No worries, nice to speak to you.
Chatting to Agostino from Mulmar. Are you happy to be back at a London Coffee Festival after 2 very strange years?
After 2 very, very strange years. Yes, always happy to be here. As you can see, it's a fantastic atmosphere, full of young, energetic people with new ideas and innovations. Yeah, of course, I love it.
Yeah.
My 11th year here, 11 years.
11 years, wow. How has it changed?
It's become busier, it's become more mature. The first years we were just small counters, small stands. Now it's much bigger, much deeper involvement, much richer information coming out from the roasters, from the growers. You know, the growers are starting to participate in the final product, not just growing. So the whole industry is getting more and more mature, just more and more interesting, which is why I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah. And London especially is always such a new stomping ground for so many innovations in the coffee world.
I agree, London. Okay, we have our friends from Australia and the Americans who are great marketeers, so they promote a lot of different drinks and things. But it's here, this is a big melting pot. London is a massive, massive melting pot. So I think we're more mature here than the rest. The others, same as Italy. Italy's very narrow-minded still.
Yeah.
It's changing, but Italy still has traditional espresso, traditional cappuccino. Here you have a mix of everything.
Yeah.
Even Turkish coffee is growing again here. So you have a melting pot. It's a melting pot of cultures.
Where do you see it going in the next, say, 10 years?
I think it will carry on growing the way it is. I think more and more people will become more and more educated. Some of our customers have shops where they offer training, coffee knowledge, small machines like the Fiamina, which is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful.
It's beautiful looking, but it's technically very, very capable. So that's the whole new world. That's the whole new market. Since COVID, the home market, everyone knows, has exploded. And we're part of that now.
Yeah.
Whereas for many, many years, for nearly 30 years, it's been professional machines, big machines. Now, also the small ones. Also the small ones. So we have to change our ways as well. We have to adapt to new markets and just try and open new markets as well. It's part of the whole coffee culture and the community.
The community is something that I love about the coffee industry.
That's the wonderful thing about coffee. It becomes more and more community. And even the chain business, which we do a lot of chains. You know, we do Costa, we do Café Nero, we do Restaurants. We have a lot of chains, but they equally want to have a bit of that community.
Yeah.
You know, so they're starting to look at speciality, which is good. So it's good for the whole industry.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And enjoy the rest of your coffee festival.
Thank you so much.
We have the pleasure of talking to Kat and Nestor from Cata Exports. You're based in Colombia. And I think you have a really unique and wonderful story and approach to the whole coffee sourcing process. Nestor, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story and how the whole thing came to be?
¿Quieres por favor contarnos un poco de tu historia y cómo todo empezó?
Hola, mi nombre es Nestor Lazo, soy productor de café de Colombia, la tercera generación. Pues nazco en una familia productora, toda mi vida.
My name is Nestor Lazo. I'm third generation in coffee. All of my family produce coffee, but I'm trying to take a different approach.
And what is that different approach? We had a chance to chat a little bit earlier, and the way you guys do it is so personal.
Tú estás tomando una forma de tomar la industria del café de otra manera en producción. ¿Qué haces diferente en comparación a tu familia?
En comparación, pues producir cafés diferenciados de muy alta calidad, aprovechando, digamos, cada oportunidad que nos da una nueva variedad. Cambiamos variedades tradicionales a variedades exóticas, nuevos procesos, una forma como de hacer algo diferente, algo que guste, no algo general de producir solo café de Colombia, sino producir cafés de alta calidad en Colombia.
So Nestor is explaining that he's trying to approach a specialty in a different way, and what is quite important for him is to implement new varietals that can be probably less productive but can enhance the quality of the coffee. So low production, better quality, and he does it through these exotic varietals.
And you've had quite some success with that as well. You won, like your coffee won a few competitions lately, I heard.
Sí, tus cafés ganaron unas competencias recientemente. ¿Quieres decir en dónde las ganaste? Shall I explain or shall he translate? Shall I tell you? Or
Yes, whatever you prefer.
Yo les voy a contar, ¿te parece? Sí. Yes, no, it's quite interesting because we started this process 3 years ago. Nestor was quite new in a specialty. He was taking charge of the whole farm, gaining the trust of his family, changing the varietals, and I was doing the marketing, showing people what he was doing. And this year, someone won with his coffee the first place in Brewers Cup in Ireland and the third place in Brewers Cup in Austria.
That is so impressive in such a short amount of time. And what is your goal? Like, what are you trying to do, or what are you trying to change in the whole value chain and processing?
Cuéntanos un poco de qué quieres cambiar.
Pues uno de los objetivos de nosotros de Finca El Diviso es llevar el café a todas las partes del mundo donde más pueda llegar, es como el objetivo, y producir cafés de muy alta calidad, como que sea la nueva generación de cosas extraordinarias.
No, his dream is that everyone in every single country, people can drink his coffee. He really wants to get what he does from the farm everywhere.
That's so amazing, Nestor. Thank you so much for talking to us. I wish I could say to you in Spanish, but unfortunately I don't speak any Spanish.
Quisiera poder expresarte en español, lo agradecida que estoy, lo emocionada que estoy, pero lamentablemente no puedo hablar tu idioma.
And I wish you the best of luck and enjoy the rest of the coffee festival.
Te deseo la mejor de las suertes y por favor disfruta este viaje y este festival.
Gracias.
No, thank you so much. And one last thing, you can try Nestor's coffee in many places in this festival. For instance, Plot Coffee now will have another edition of Nestor's coffees. So you know, like we'll have his coffees in Kelowna, Crank House, in many places. So I hope many people can get to know him.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and enjoy the festival.
Thank you so much.
We're here with Angelo in front of the beautiful, beautiful Faemina. And when you walk around the London Coffee Festival, it's very obvious that household machines and single group machines are very popular. And there is a lot of companies branching out into that territory. Is that a very recent development?
Well, it is a recent development. The situation that we've been living for the last 2 years has changed the way that people are drinking coffee. Before it was a lot more outside. Now people have learned that coffee can be drank even at home in a better way. So they're looking for better performing espresso machines for the home household. Well, this is not saying that we should stop, of course, drinking coffee outside. Actually, we should embrace that a bit more now that we can. But we have discovered these new things, so why not to?
Yeah. And the Faemina is famous answer to that, and it is not only a stunning machine. The design is, I love it. I think it's so beautiful. But it's also a very special machine. Can you talk to us a little bit about what makes the Faemina so great?
Well, we were talking about the experience of coffee at home and in a professional environment. The special thing about Faemina, of course, apart from the looks, it looks amazing. And we put a lot of thought on that. But the matter of the fact is that Faemina features the same group that our professional range has got. So the same coffee, potentially, of course, that you get in a professional environment, you can get at home. And not only that, we have thought there are many ways that people are drinking coffee at home, not only espresso, but filter coffee too. And a great feature of Faemina is that you can actually make an automatic filter coffee, and we have had a lot of that during the exhibition, during the festival, and people loved it. Yeah. It tastes great.
It's such a cool feature. I was lucky enough to be shown that at home, the filter feature, and it's so cool. Was the idea behind that just to combining espresso machine with something that can help make the filter more accessible?
Well, the thing is, take it this way, we have always had filter coffee at home, right?
Yeah.
So there are certain things that we do normally in our routine when we are extracting filter coffee. All those features, all those things actually, that need to be done on a filter coffee are right there. Blooming, you can set it for the time and weight. The dose, once you decide your brew ratio, job done. You put it on the right weight, and you don't need a scale. The machine will weigh the water for you. Number of pours, so you get the turbulence that you like, more, less, in terms of what you like the most, and of course the time of pouring. So all these things put together make the experience a handmade-like filter coffee, but it's the machine that does it for you first thing in the morning. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm very excited to try a coffee from it, and thank you so much for talking to us, and have a wonderful festival.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
We're here with Lauren from the Little Coffee Company, which is, I think, a women-run company, which is still such a rare thing in the coffee industry, and it's so wonderful to meet you. Talk to us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm Lauren and I have a social impact company called the Little Coffee Company. What we do is we source from women around the world, so countries like Jamaica, where I'm from, as well as Tanzania and East Africa, and Cameroon and Ethiopia. So we really wanted to create a brand that tells the story of women and kind of the experiences they have, and also kind of shed a light on the difficulties that they face as well. Farming is really labor intensive and a lot of women do the work, but then they don't get acknowledged for the work that they do.
And how do you tackle that?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to acknowledge that I can't solve all problems, and I think, you know, even looking at sustainability and social impact, we're such a small company, we try to do little steps but make a big impact. So one thing we do is work with a charity called Solar Aid, and for each tin or each pack of coffee that you buy, they donate and it contributes to a solar lamp. So electricity is something that is really, really difficult when you're in rural communities, and loss of light can affect, you know, reading times for families, and also just generally it's dangerous to be traveling back late at night without light. So we donate to that charity, and also we pay farmers fairly, we pay them better. So those are two big things that we do with our company.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for talking to us, and I love the work that you do. It's so amazing to see women helping women and working in the coffee industry. That's really, really brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Great. And you can check us out on our Instagram at Little Coffee Company, and our tins are all online.
Which is beautiful packaging as well. So.
Thanks.
If you like our videos and want to learn more about coffee, please support us by hitting the like button and the subscribe button, of course. And also, maybe if you have some ideas for future videos or topics that we could talk about, just put it down in the comments and let us know. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.